Good morning, boys. Today, let us learn some of the important things for a vehicle moving on a circular road or circular turn, and for a vehicle moving on a flat circular road and vehicle moving on a banked circular road. Before that, let us recall what we have learned earlier: uniform circular motion. When a body undergoes uniform circular motion, with some constant velocity, if this is a uniform circular motion with some constant velocity, then we have learned that it is experiencing a centripetal force. It is experiencing a centripetal acceleration. The acceleration is towards the center. Already we have learned about this. If this is the linear velocity and if it is moving with constant velocity, constant speed, undergoing a uniform circular motion along a circular path with radius r, we know that it experiences a centripetal acceleration. Centripetal acceleration is denoted by AC, which we got it as V square by R. Suppose this is a vehicle of mass m. Let us denote it by a dot, which is of mass m. Then when it is undergoing a circular motion with constant speed, then it experiences a centripetal acceleration. Then by Newton's second law, mass into acceleration gives us force. Using Newton's second law, force acting on this is given by mass into acceleration, and that force is also acting towards the center, because force is mass into acceleration and direction of force is same as direction of acceleration. So this force which acts on a body undergoing uniform circular motion is called as centripetal force. It is called as centripetal force, which can be obtained as mv square by r. So therefore, centripetal force acting on a body undergoing a circular path with constant speed v is given by mv square by r. It is denoted by Fc. So here v is the constant speed with which it is taking turn of a circular path of radius r, and m is the mass of the body. Okay. Now you compare this concept with Earth revolving around the Sun. Think that the Earth revolves around the Sun in circular orbit, and Earth is having constant speed revolving around the Earth. So Earth must be provided with centripetal force, and that centripetal force must be acting towards the center of the orbit. At the center of the orbit there is Sun. So centripetal force must be acting on the Earth revolving around the Sun in circular orbit. Which force gives this centripetal force? Definitely it is an attractive gravitational force existing between Sun and Earth. So when Earth revolves around the Sun, instead of when you write for Earth revolving around the Sun, Earth revolving around the Sun, the necessary centripetal force is provided by gravitational force acting towards the sun. So like this we must be able to identify what is that centripetal force for any object undergoing a circular motion with constant speed. Think that a stone is tied with a thread and this stone is of mass m. If it is revolved in a circular path with the help of a thread, one end is connected to the stone, another end is held in your hand and you are revolving the stone with constant speed in a circular path. Then the tension acting along the thread towards your hand, towards your finger, gives the centripetal force. Because the stone has to revolve in the circular path with, let us say, constant speed, then centripetal force must be acting. That centripetal force is acting towards your finger where you are holding it, and you will feel the tension in the thread. The tension itself provides the necessary centripetal force for a stone tied with a thread revolving in a circular path with constant speed. Similarly, for moon revolving around the earth with constant speed in a circular orbit, there should be centripetal force acting towards the earth. That centripetal force acting towards the center of earth is nothing but the gravitational force of attraction. So the gravitational force between earth and moon provides the necessary centripetal force for the moon to revolve around the earth. So I think you got the point. What is the meaning of centripetal force? The force which is acting towards the center. Force acting towards the center of circular orbit on an object in uniform circular motion. Is called as centripetal force. It is called as centripetal force. So the force acting towards the center of the circular orbit on an object which is undergoing uniform circular motion is called as centripetal force. Earlier we defined what is centripetal acceleration. Now we have defined what is centripetal force. With this knowledge, we are now discussing what happens to a car or a vehicle which is taking turn on a circular path with some constant speed. So that car must be provided with some centripetal force. That car must be provided with some centripetal force acting towards the center of that circular path. And which is that force providing the centripetal force? We need to understand. It is definitely going to be the frictional force acting between the tire surface and the road surface, which provides the necessary centripetal force. Let us see that example. Now let us consider a car moving on a flat circular curved path. There are two cases here. Car moving on a flat circular path. Another one, car moving on a banked road, little bit elevated road. That is going to be the second case. So let us study the first one, car moving on a flat circular curved path. Consider this is a curved path. Curved road. And here is the car which is taking turn. This is the car which is taking turn in this direction. It's moving in this direction. And then let us consider V be the speed, constant speed of the car, and m be the mass of the car. And this is the road surface. Let us consider this is the center of the curved path. And let us consider r be the radius of this curved path. And then when the car of mass m is taking turn, these are the tires of the car. See, this car must be provided with necessary centripetal force so that it can safely take the turn. So which force provides the centripetal force? That is the question. So if you just draw a line towards the center, the line towards the center, draw a straight line towards the center. So this will be the direction of centripetal acceleration, and mass multiplied by centripetal acceleration gives us centripetal force. That is fine. But which is that? That is nothing but the frictional force. The frictional force is acting in this direction. That is going to be static frictional force or static friction. How is that it is going to be static friction? Think that the car is taking turn. The tendency of the car is to move away from the curved path. The tendency of the car is to move away from the curved path. So impending motion of the tires is away from this direction towards the center. It is moving away from the direction. So impending motion of the tires in contact with the road surface is away from the road. Away from the road. So the force which opposes the impending motion is nothing but the static friction. So static friction must be acting in the direction towards the center. So O is the center. So the static friction provides the necessary centripetal force. So if I just write down, consider a car of mass m taking a circular turn of radius r with constant speed v. Then the necessary centripetal force to take circular turn is provided by static friction. Static friction Fs. I have explained you. The static friction is that friction which opposes the impending motion of the tires which are in contact with the road surface. The tires of the vehicle will be tending to move away from the circular path. So tending to move away. So this is opposed by a friction that is called as static friction. So static friction provides the necessary centripetal force. Now I will draw one more diagram so that with the help of that diagram we can understand what are all the forces acting on the car taking the circular turn. So here, if this is the car on a flat circular road, these are the tires. That's okay. And this is taking curve like this. Then, if you draw the diagram of forces, okay, you take this one as center of mass and draw one diagram, one direction to show its weight. Weight is equal to mass into acceleration due to gravity acting vertically downwards. This is exactly balanced by the normal reaction, normal force, which is normal to the road surface, and the centripetal force is provided by towards the center. Fs is actually acting along the road surface. If this is the road surface, then Fs is acting along the road surface. So this Fs I have drawn along with this line. So there are three forces you can note down. There are three forces. One is the weight acting vertically downwards. Another one is the normal force perpendicular to the road surface, which is exactly equal to weight. And the third one is centripetal force provided by the static friction. Now you can write the forces acting on the moving car. 1. Weight W equal to mg acting vertically downwards. Second one, normal force or normal reaction is also normal force acting vertically upwards. And the third one, friction, and that friction is static friction acting along the road surface towards the center of circular curve. So three forces are acting. So now we can write down the balancing forces. So N is equal to mg. So in equilibrium, what are the balancing forces? N minus mg equal to 0. Look at the diagram. N is exactly equal to mg. Therefore, n minus mg equal to 0. So this implies N is equal to mg. Now centripetal force. Centripetal force Fc is provided by static friction. Therefore, I will write here mv square by r. Mv square by r is equal to Fs. But what is Fs from the previous knowledge? Fs is less than or equal to mu s n, where mu s is the coefficient of static friction between the tire surfaces and the road surface. So mu s is the coefficient of static friction. So this implies, just substituting n equal to mg, mv square by r must be less than or equal to mu s mg. So mm cancels. As a result, we get v square by r. M cancels. V square by r must be less than or equal to mu s g. Mu s g. Then, if it is a limiting value of static friction, if it is the maximum limiting value of static friction, then V will be maximum. for V to be V max, for maximum permissible speed to take turn on the circular path. For a car to have maximum permissible speed, how much should be the permissible speed so that it will not undergo any skidding? So for V to be V max, Fs must be Fs max. Fs max is equal to mu s n. Fs max is equal to mu s n. Therefore, V max square upon R should be equal to mu s g. Just equal this m vm max when vm square upon r. M vm square upon r should be equal to mu s mg. So that mm cancels. You are left with v max square upon r is equal to mu s g. Mm cancels. This implies v max square is equal to mu s r g. So this is the maximum permissible speed. Take the square root. So V max is therefore equal to square root of mu s r g. Means there is a speed limit. There is a speed limit when you are taking the turn. You must have seen the signboard. Whenever the turns are there, to have a safe speed, there will be a signboard to take turn with 20 km per hour, 18 km per hour, or 10 km per hour, depending on the radius of curvature of that road. So, lesser the radius of curvature of the road, lesser is the maximum speed allowed. More the radius of curvature, more is the maximum speed allowed. So, this is the maximum permissible speed. Maximum permissible speed to take turn of radius r. Lesser the radius of curvature, lesser is the maximum permissible speed. You have to drive very carefully with low and lower speed. More the radius of curvature, you will be provided with more permissible speed. You will be allowed to have more permissible speed. That is one thing. So V max is depending on square root of r. G is constant. Another constant is the mu s, coefficient of static friction. You know that mu s depends on the nature of the road surface. Nature of the road surface. How rough is the road surface? How smooth is the road surface? So for rough road surface, mu s takes higher value. For smooth road surface, mu s takes lower value. So if the road surface is very smooth, you must drive with a very low speed. Otherwise, the vehicle tires will skid away and go away from the road, and the vehicle will be under trouble. It will be meeting with accident. It will skid away from the road and fall away. So that is the reason there will be a signboard whenever there are turns. You must have seen in ghat sections where U-turns are there, signboard will be there. 10 km per hour, 20 km per hour, so that the vehicle should reduce the speed and take the turn safely. So this is the maximum permissible speed for taking a circular turn of radius r. Now, what to do if vehicle has to go with higher speed than this? Then there is a procedure, there is a process called as banking of road. Banking of road means the outer edge of the road is elevated, keeping the inner edge as it is. So, the process of increasing the height of the outer edge with respect to inner edge with certain angle of inclination with respect to the inner edge is called as banking. B-A-N-K-I-N-G, banking of road. So this banking of road has an advantage. You must have seen wherever turns are there the outer edge of the road is little elevated than the inner edge. So this provides the vehicle to take turn with little higher speed. The vehicle can take turn with little higher speed, and this process is called as banking of road. So what is the necessity of banking of road? If the circular turn which we have discussed here, the centripetal force is provided by static friction, and you know static friction depends on the coefficient of static friction, that is μs. So μs takes a higher value for rough surface of the road, and μs takes low values for smooth surfaces. So the static friction will not be always same. It depends on the condition. If the road is wet during rainy season, the road surface will be wet, then μs will be very low. Then the vehicle has to take turn very slowly, very carefully. So another provision is you have to make the road rough. If you make the road more and more rough surface, then the problem is more and more wear and tear of the vehicle tires. The vehicle tires undergo more wear and tear. So to avoid this, the outer edge of the road is little elevated than the inner edge, and that provides better speed than this Vmax. In that case, the horizontal component of normal force provides the necessary centripetal force. Along with the static friction, component of static friction, normal component of the not normal component, horizontal component of normal reaction. The horizontal component of normal reaction provides the necessary centripetal force, and thus centripetal force value increases, and that will provide more permissible speed than this. That is what we are going to discuss tomorrow. So thank you. Have a nice day. Good day.